Going to show you how to power up the Canon Powershot A590 IS camera. There's the top of the camera there. You can see that little round button just there. Push that down. The camera comes on. And as you can see, the camera is now on. You're going to have a look at a couple of different ways of getting the menu up and running. This thumb wheel at the top here changes the way the camera works and everything like that. Some of the slight differences in there. TV mode. Can't help the flare. To get the menu, one type of menu up, press the middle of that. As you can see, there's a menu display. Gives you the ISO, which is auto. You can change it up to 1600. And you've got your white balance, the AWB. It can be on auto. It can be the sunlight, which is fairly white light. I think it's classified as midday light. And you've got cloudy, which will give it a slightly cooler look. Then you've got artificial. And if you look at it, it does change the white balance slightly. It goes to a warmer light the further you go down. So that will give you the white balance of the image. I'm trying to do this all at once to save a bit of time. The camera itself doesn't have storage capacity. However, it uses the standard SD card. And I think I've got an 8GB one sitting in there at the moment. But the camera does not have any storage itself on it. There is some slight camera memory which keeps the time and everything like that, but that's only minimal. The camera takes 2 AA batteries, which should be removed when the camera is not being in use. There is also a lithium battery in there for the memory of the camera. This camera doesn't do tone curves. If I want to do tone curves, I'd have to do it in my photo editing program. We're on shutter speed priority at the moment, which the camera has to be set on TV. And at the moment it's set at 1/125th, which is the default setting. But using the little cross button there, it increases from 125 to 160 to 1200 to 125 to 1320 to 1400, right up to 2000. Adjusting the zoom is done by this round ring here. That also in certain settings helps with the focal length as well. And you just rotate it one way. As you can see, the lens pushes out, rotate it back the other way. Also on the bottom of the camera screen, but the bottom digits are set at 3.5 at the moment. And they go up to 5.5, but that can be changed simply by moving the crossbar, and they can go right up to f8 and all the way down to f2.6. So there's two ways of adjusting that. You can get small adjustments with the zoom, and then you can change the focal length using the cross buttons. There is another menu button which brings up a large display and gives you a frame that you can use to frame your subjects. An autofocus point or point and zoom, digital zoom, standard. You've got flash settings, quite a few settings in there. Autofocus assist beam. This camera has a pre-flash light, which means a light comes on before the flash. It's about a 2-second delay. On the next toolbar, you've got the microphone, you've got power saving mode, you've got date and time setting in there. The bottom of the display there, it says format, and it says 7.4 gig, which reflects the fact that there's an 8GB SD card in there. It does file numbering, gives you a language system, video system, whether you want NTSC or PAL. when you rotate it to recording video, there's an extra setting in there. That pretty much covers the basic features of it. The user manual is accompanied with the camera, so it tells you anything you need to know. To upload directly from the camera to the computer, we can just go into, we connect the camera to the computer via USB. Once it's recognized, we can go in, have a look in here. And as you can see, there's some images there. So we can highlight these images and we can copy them. And then we can paste them into another folder on the computer. New folder in there for this one. Paste the images in there. As you can see, the images are now in that folder. Now we're going to use our photo editor to open one of the images, and I'll have a look at it. Look at this one here. And I see it's a bit of a water over the road. It's up in near Charters House. Editing of it. So what I'll do is I'll copy it so I don't destroy the original image. I'll resize it down just slightly so that it's a bit easier to manage. And I'll just type of a contrast there sort of thing. It just gives it a little bit more highlighting in that. That actually doesn't look too bad just in where it was sat there. Okay. What I might do is I might just resize that one and compare the two images together. So it's not too bad considering in my eyes. Just turn this a little bit. Not too bad at all. Gives it a bit more highlighting on that. So there's the brightness and contrast on that one. Pause the video and pull up another image to do more work with that one. I don't have any images that have red eye in it, so I'll use one of the files that was supplied to me. Then I'll come in here with the red eye tool. I'll zoom right in on that. Now I've got it set to a 45, and this actually works quite well because it can just allow a bit of graduation without taking away too much of the surrounding colour and background. Selects the shade of red that's in that colour area sort of thing, and just removes it. There are other methods of doing this, but this seems to be a little bit more precise, and it tends not to take too much away from the surrounding part of the eye there. Some, it just does a colour, and it can actually move colour from down here. Well, this is a more precise way of doing it. As you can see, the baby's eyes are now fairly good, nice dark pupils. So that's the red eye. Just to check the difference between the two of the images. There's the red eye. It's quite deadly. I might make a GIF out of that one day. We're now going to look at rotating in an image. So we've got image here, and we'll rotate it left. There it goes. Pretty simple step. Last one we'll look at is image cropping. Use a crop tool here. This is the image. As we can see, the image is pretty large, and there's some area that we don't really need around that, so we'll use a crop tool on that. Drag the crop tool down, put it about there. Up slightly. And we can just go tick on that, and the image is cropped. Final two steps of this project is, one is to print it, and another one is to copy to or save it to a USB stick. So first one we're going to do is print. Onto there. It's just a matter of clicking print. Noise in the background. The image is printed. Final step is to save the image to a flash drive. It's there. One. And we'll save it. That concludes the project.